Welcome to Networking Squared with Jerry O and Al Crawford. Grab your coffee, hang out for an hour, and learn from their business experts. Now, here are your business squares, Jerry and Al.
Ladies and gentlemen, Saturday morning with Mr. Al Crawford to my right. We've got a couple of in-studio guests that we want to introduce you to on a little bit here. And I am Jerry O, thankful for getting up in the morning and joining you for Networking Squared, talking about what today, Al?
Jerry, we have a lot of stuff to talk about today. I think I'm really excited about our guests, and I think that our listening audience is going to learn some stuff today that they never knew before.
Well, that's what we're here for. That's what we get up for. Want to thank Brian on the other side of the glass, making us sound so good. He just makes me nervous when he points at me. So it's good to be here. Yeah, beautiful Saturday afternoon. Al, let's see. We did a bunch of stuff this week. We're not here really to talk about the fact that we did a bunch of things. However, we did. We were at the Michigan Emerging. That was an expo. Where was that at?
That was in Dearborn, actually, right across from Greenfield Village.
I know you love going down there. And you spoke at the Roseville or East Point Roseville Chamber of Commerce this week.
Yep, I did a 2-hour training on social media, which was a lot of fun. It was a great group of people.
And then we spent all day long out in Novi for the Yes Network, and they had some speakers brought in from around the country. They always bring in national speakers. But all three of these events were networking opportunities, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, absolutely. And what we really wanted to focus on for this first segment was talking about those different types of events and the things that you really should or shouldn't be doing when you're attending these types of events.
So were we watching people, or what were we doing there?
Well, which one you want to start with, Jer?
Well, you know what? Let's talk about the S Network, since that was an all-day affair from noon on to 8 or 9 o'clock. And we had the speakers speaking, and then in between we did networking, and we did some networking exercises. What would be the right thing for people to do in those kind of events?
Well, I think the first thing is that you have to have a window of time. If the event starts at 1:30, don't get there at 1:30. There's a lot of people that are there to learn. There's a lot of people that are there to be met and to talk to each other. And my focal point would really be to get there at least an hour before, because that's really when the business is happening, where the relationships are happening in that hour.
Where you actually have time to say hello and get your name and to find out more than just a business card and the name, to find out really what that person is about. And you can do that there. Thank you, Kevin Higgins, for reminding us to have a good show on Facebook. So I'm just checking out our Facebook. We've got some posts coming in. And I give a shout out for Kevin. Had a great show with him here.
Yeah, and actually he's got his commercial is premiering today on our show.
All right. And he's doing it himself, and I thought he did a great job. Anyway, enough for Kevin. So I know that when I was collecting business cards, and I put the business cards that I got in one pocket, I'm always made notes on them, and some of the business cards you can't write on with a pen, so you really need to have a magic marker or a Sharpie that you can make those notes on, so that the following day you can do those follow-ups, and those go into a separate pocket. And then the cards that I pass out are in another pocket so that I don't get them confused.
And if you forget the Sharpie, just figure out a way to fold the card. That's what I'm doing. I know that if I forget the Sharpie, the card that gets folded over is never making it back out of my pocket alive.
I didn't know that. All right, well, see, more great networking tips. So what else did you see when you were working with the Chamber event now this week? How was that different than the Yes Network?
Well, the point of that, it was a mixed crowd of people who were trying to understand why they need social media in their business, why social networking is a part of what they should or shouldn't be doing. And I did a 2-hour overview of this, kind of explaining what Facebook and LinkedIn and Twitter, what it means to different people, and what are the things that they should and shouldn't do, because not everybody needs all three.
Mean as in?
I don't think that every business owner needs to have a presence on LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. I think that for the small business owner, Facebook is going to probably be more than enough. If you have a staff of people and you can afford to pay 5 people to manage your social media, then yeah, you can get all over it. But I think that people have to start small and grow into it.
And you're talking about tools again. Last week we talked about tools. These are tools that we're using, and you have to know how to use them. And it's kind of odd that we have a mechanic in the studio today, so maybe later on he can teach us about how to use some of those tools. But in our networking tools, it's very important where and when we use them.
Right. And what I was really looking at is in the interaction in the crowd of people that were there listening and the feedback that they had. You see these relationships building. You see the interaction happening between people. And one of the things that I really encourage at that is for them to exchange business cards and for them to set up one-on-one meetings so that any event that you're at, anything that you attend, the goal should be to have a one-on-one meeting, to begin a relationship that may be a great referral relationship when you leave it.
All right. So Michigan Emerging was an expo, and that's a whole different kind of a thing. So we had a guest a couple weeks ago that said, smile through the door. So before you walk into that expo, get that smiling happening, because when you do that, you make yourself approachable. When you're walking into an expo, there's going to be a lot of people. There's a lot of tables. You're going to kind of wander up and down the aisles. And if you have that kind of look about you, you will attract people.
That's a big part, and I think a lot of it's eye contact as well. You see the people that are they're walking around looking at the ground or looking at their BlackBerry, and they're not really making any contact with people. And in those environments, it's really about having that face-to-face, having that eye contact, and deciding if you want to speak to that person.
Do you remember those things every time you walk into a situation like that, Al?
I do now. It wasn't something that I knew a while ago. It's something you have to think about it, you have to concentrate on it, and you really have to work on it.
So the preparation, being prepared, knowing what you want to accomplish, and having your tools ready when you walk into either one of these 3 situations that we're talking about.
Right. In an expo situation, you're approaching vendors. They're there to sell to you. They're there to present to you. And you have to be able to use those as opportunities to be able to present yourself. So I didn't pay to be a table. I didn't have a table at the expo, but what it did present for me was many, many opportunities to meet with businesses that I could already see who they were and what they were, and I could see how they were relevant to me. But at the same time, people that were standing at the table next to me, talking to those people, I also had that ability to interact with them and exchange cards.
Now, there's going to be people walking up and down the aisles. You certainly don't want to discount them. There is business in them, their aisles, aren't there?
It's about listening to the conversations. I don't mean like eavesdropping and being creepy about it, but I'm saying when somebody's talking to a vendor, you're listening to the types of things that they're talking about. If it's relevant to what you're doing, then you want to talk to them.
All right. I like that. We've got a studio guest coming up in our in the next, well, on the other side of the commercial. Thank you. And it is going to be Debbie Stanley. Debbie, why don't you say hi real quick?
Hi real quick.
And she's really funny.
Yeah,
so,
that's great.
Having somebody in here that's going to help us organize and to be straightened up. Al and I spent the morning cleaning up the studio just for her visit. So it was a good time. Debbie, tell us real quick what you do.
I am a mental health counselor specializing in chronic disorganization and hoarding.
All right. Well, that ought to be really interesting. And that's all the tease you're going to get for what we're going to have after the break. We have a little tease coming up. Al, why don't you talk about what we're going to give away at the end of the show?
Well, what I'm going to be giving away is and actually it's going to be to our, we'll have to pick a number of caller, but we're going to give away a ticket to an event that's on December 4th and 5th. It's a 2-day event. There's 12 different speakers that are on this docket. And we're going to be giving a ticket away that's worth $300.
All right, and it's kind of a boot camp for getting yourself squared away for the coming year on how to improve your business.
Exactly, it's an entrepreneur's boot camp is what it's called.
All right, and they're going to have how many speakers there?
12.
There's going to be 12 speakers over a 2-day period. This is going to be a dynamic thing. We're going to be giving that away at the end of the hour, so I want you to stay tuned. I'd like to give you our number. It's 1-800-923-9385. We are here at Networking Squared, and if you want to give us a call, please do, and keep that number handy because we will be giving We're going to be giving that very, very valuable ticket away. Also, Debbie's going to have a couple of signed books that we're going to be giving away when we get back on the other side of the break. So, are we ready to go? We've got, what else we got?
Well, actually, OXO, I'm looking forward to OXO. What's OXO mean?
I haven't got a clue.
That was a pretty frightening term. I'm really looking forward to hearing Steve. I know a lot about this guy, and I think that our audience is going to be very happy that they got to know who this guy is, because he's going to be their knight in shining armor. Well,
he'll always be a knight in shining armor when you have a mechanic that arrives to where you're at with his beautiful truck, his macho trailer, to bail you out, especially now that we have winter coming up. We are Networking Squared. We're going to see you on the other side of the break. Thanks, Al.
Thanks, Jerry.